reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 9, Lord Chaitanya's travel to the holy places. This is a pastime about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting a particular Brahmana who was a devotee of Lord Ramachandra. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at southern Mathura, Dakshina Mathura, from Kamakosti, he met a Brahmana. Dakshina Mathura is called as Madurai in Tamil Nadu. It is situated on the banks of the river Bhagar. It is specifically a place of pilgrimage for devotees of Lord Shiva, and there are a lot of places where Lord Shiva is worshipped in this region. There are famous Shiva temples and also temples of Durga Devi in this region. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met a Brahmana when he reached this place called Madurai. The Brahmana who met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invited Lord Chaitanya to his home. This Brahmana was a great devotee and an authority on Lord Sri Ramachandra. He was always detached from material activities. After bathing in the river Kritamara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Brahmana's house to take lunch, but he saw that the food was unprepared because the Brahmana had not cooked it. Seeing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear sir, please tell me why you have not cooked. It is already known." The Brahmana replied, "My dear Lord, we are living in the forest. For the time being, we cannot get all the ingredients for cooking. When Lakshmana brings all the vegetables, fruits and roots from the forest, Sita will do the necessary cooking." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied to hear about the Brahmana's method of worship. Finally, the Brahmana hastily made arrangements for cooking. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cooked his lunch at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But the Brahmana, being very sorrowful, fasted. While the Brahmana was fasting, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "Why are you fasting? Why are you so unhappy? Why are you so worried?" The Brahmana replied, "I have no reason to live. I shall give up my life by entering either fire or water." My dear sir, Mother Sita is the mother of the universe and the supreme goddess of fortune. She has been touched by the demon Ravana, and I am troubled upon hearing this news. Sir, due to my unhappiness, I cannot continue living. Although my body is burning, my life is not leaving. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to the Brahmana, "Please do not think this way any longer. You are a learned Pandita. Why don't you consider the case? Sita Devi, the dearmost wife of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra, certainly has a spiritual form full of bliss. No one can see her with material eyes, for no materialist has such power. To say nothing of touching Mother Sita, a person with material senses cannot even see her. When Ravana kidnapped her, he kidnapped only her material, illusory form. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is clarifying. Ravana could not even see Sita's spiritual form. He simply could see, touch, kidnap, take away, steal only the illusory form of Sita. As soon as Ravana arrived before Sita, she disappeared. Then, just to cheat Ravana, she sent an illusory material form. Spiritual substance is never within the jurisdiction of the material conception. This is always the verdict of the Vedas and the Puranas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then assured the Brahmana, have faith in my words and do not burden your mind any longer with this misconception. Although the Brahmana was fasting, he had faith in the words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then he accepted food. In this way, his life was saved. After thus assuring the Brahmana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded further into southern India and finally arrived at Durvashana, where he bathed in the river Pratamara. At Durvashana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited the temple of Lord Ramachandra, and on the hill known as Mahendra Shaila, he saw Lord Parshurama. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then went to Setubandha or Rameshwara, where he took his bath at the place called Dhanustirtha. From there he visited the Rameshwara temple and then took rest. There, among the Brahmanas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened to the Kurma Purana, wherein is mentioned the chaste woman's narration. Srimati Sita Devi is the mother of the three worlds and the wife of Lord Ramachandra. Among chaste women, she is supreme and she is the daughter of King Janaka. When Ravana came to kidnap Mother Sita and she saw him, she took shelter of the fire god Agni. The fire god covered the body of Mother Sita, and in this way she was protected from the hands of Ravana. Upon hearing from the Kurma Purana how Ravana had kidnapped a false form of Mother Sita, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very satisfied. The fire god Agni took away the real Sita and brought her to the place of Parvati, goddess Durga. An illusory form of Mother Sita was then delivered to Ravana, and in this way Ravana was cheated. After Ravana was killed by Lord Ramachandra, Sita Devi was brought before the fire and tested. When the illusory Sita was brought before the fire by Lord Ramachandra, the fire god made the illusory form disappear and delivered the real Sita to Lord Ramachandra. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this story, he was very pleased and he remembered the words of Ramadasa Vipra. Indeed, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these conclusive statements from the Kurma Purana, he felt great happiness. After asking the Brahmana's permission, he took possession of the manuscript leaves of the Kurma Purana. Since the Kurma Purana was very old, the manuscript also was very old. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took possession of the original leaves in order to have direct evidence. The text was copied onto new leaves in order that the Purana be replaced. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then returned to southern Mathura or Madurai and delivered the original manuscript of the Kurma Purana to Ramdas Vipra. So two verses from the Kurma Purana describe this particular incident as: when he was petitioned by Maya Sita, the fire god Agni brought forth an illusory form of Sita, and Ravana, who had 10 heads, kidnapped the false Sita. The original Sita then went to the abode of the fire god. When Lord Ramachandra tested the body of Sita, it was false illusory Sita that entered the fire. At that time, the fire god brought the original Sita from his abode and delivered her to Lord Ramachandra. Ramadasa Vipra was very pleased to receive the original leaf manuscript of the Kurma Purana, and he immediately fell down before the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to cry. After receiving the manuscript, the Brahmana became very pleased, and he said, "Sir, you are Lord Ramachandra himself and have come in the dress of a sannyasi to give me audience. My dear sir, you have delivered me from a very unhappy condition. I request that you take your lunch at my place. Please accept this invitation. Due to my mental distress, I could not give you a very nice lunch the other day. Now, by good fortune, you have come again to my home." Saying this, the Brahmana very happily cooked food, and a first-class dinner was offered to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that night in the house of the Brahmana. Then, after showing him his mercy, the Lord started toward the Tamraparni river in Madhya Desha. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually non-different from Lord Ramachandra. He is non-different from Lord Krishna. And to one devotee, Sarvabhaumacharya, who was earlier following Mayavada philosophy of Sri Shankaracharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enlightened Sarvabhaumacharya in the Vaishnava conclusions that actually the Mayavada theory is incorrect. The Mayavada theory says that the Supreme Absolute Truth is impersonal Brahman, and Krishna, or any incarnation of the Supreme Lord who comes to this material world, is coming from the impersonal Brahman. This is directly refuted in all the scriptures. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, "Brahmano hi pratishta aham." Krishna says he is the basis of the impersonal Brahman. In the Brahma Samhita, it is explained, "Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvashesha vasudhadi vibhuti vinnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamam puja." Govinda or Krishna is the source of the Brahman effulgence. So, that Brahman effulgence is actually the bodily effulgence of the transcendental form of Krishna. Yasya Prabha. In another place in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Yad Advaitam Brahmopanishadi Tadasya Tanubha. What is described as Brahman in the Upanishads is actually the bodily effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna or Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, in this way we can understand that the Mayavada theory that from the Brahman effulgence the incarnations are coming is incorrect. The incarnations are the source of the Brahman effulgence. So after Sarvabhaumacharya became convinced that Mayavada theory is wrong and that the Vaishnava Siddhanta, which explains the correct source of everything as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, then he became a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After he became a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed Sarvabhaumacharya his form, a special form called Shadbhuja Rupa. Shadbhuja Rupa means six-handed form. In that six-handed form, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed two hands were holding a flute, two other hands were holding a bow and a set of arrows, and other two hands were holding a sannyasa danda and a kamandal. So this special form, which was shown by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sarvabhaumacharya, clearly indicates that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the same Lord Rama, is the same Lord Krishna, and now he has appeared as a sannyasi. So the two hands holding the bow and arrows indicates that he had earlier appeared as Lord Ramachandra. The two hands holding the flute indicate that he later on appeared as Krishna. So in Treta Yuga he appeared as Rama, in Dwapara Yuga he appeared as Krishna, in Kali Yuga he has appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a sannyasi. So sannyasi holding the kamandalu and the sannyas danda. So Sarvabhaumacharya was convinced that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, even though he has appeared as a devotee in order to teach how to practice bhakti in this Kali Yuga. Formerly, there were many devotees who were properly following the scriptural injunctions in order to practice bhakti. So, in the Lord's incarnations in the previous yugas, whenever the Lord appeared, he was always identified, glorified, and worshipped by his devotees. But in Kali Yuga, because dharma is not being properly practiced, and there is a great shortage of devotees, bona fide devotees. There are so many pseudo devotees, false devotees, but bona fide devotees are very scarce in Kali Yuga. So the Supreme Lord himself assumed the form of a devotee and appeared in Kali Yuga in order to teach how to execute devotional service. So that form of the Lord who appeared as a devotee is the form of Lord Chaitanya. Krishna himself has come as a devotee in order to teach how to practice Bhakti Yoga. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed all these pastimes, and it is very evident that he is the same Supreme Lord who appeared in earlier yugas as Lord Rama and Lord Krishna. In this particular pastime also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is demonstrating that he is actually Lord Ramachandra, who is the authority on the scriptures. This Brahmana, Ramadasa Vipra, he was having this misunderstanding that Ravana had somehow touched the supremely chaste Mother Sita. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is clarifying that actually no materialist can even see the form of the spiritual form of Sita Devi. So whatever materialistic persons see, even if they see only a material form, an illusory form. They cannot see spiritual form. It's like even our own form actually is spiritual, but it is covered by a material form. So this material form is actually illusory form. So whenever we see somebody, we are unable to see their spiritual form. We are unable to see their spiritual form. We only see their illusory material form. But still, there is a difference between the Supreme Lord's form and our form. When the Supreme Lord comes to this material world, he comes in his spiritual form. Or whenever Sita Devi, Lakshmi Devi, she incarnates. Lakshmi Devi incarnated as Sita Devi when Lord Ramachandra appeared in Treta Yuga. Lakshmi Devi incarnated as Rukmini when the Supreme Lord appeared as Krishna. So when the Supreme Lord and his eternal consort Lakshmi Devi, they come to this world, they come in their original spiritual form. But this spiritual form is not visible to everyone. What people see as the form, they only see an illusory form, which is not the covering of the spiritual form. Whereas in our case, even though we have got an original spiritual form, because we are spirit soul, we have a spiritual form. But that spiritual form is covered by the material body or material form. And this covering is the basis of our taking birth in this material world. When it is said that somebody takes birth, that means the spirit soul is covered by a material form. Whereas when Lord Krishna takes birth or Lord Rama takes birth, then their spiritual form is not covered by a material body. They don't accept a material form or a material body. So this difference has to be clearly understood. Still, materialists cannot see a spiritual form. So it explained here that when materialists see the form of God, they only see one illusory form. One illusory form, which is not the real form of God. Just like there is a form of the deity in our temple or any temple. Right? There is a form of Krishna and Balaram. Now this form of Krishna and Balaram is actually a spiritual form. But materialistic persons cannot see the spiritual form. Only devotees whose eyes are smeared with love for Krishna, premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena, such devotees, pure devotees, can only see the spiritual form of Krishna. What about the others? The others can only see a material form. Therefore, for non-devotees, the same form of Krishna as the deity, Archamurti, it is spiritual for the devotees and it appears like a material form for the materialistic persons, for the non-devotees. Therefore, when some foolish person who is ignorant about God, he comes in front of the deity of Krishna, just like in Vrindavan, there were some invaders. They came from some Muslim countries and they attacked the temples. They thought that they can destroy the God of the Hindus. What did they do? They took away all the jewelry of the deities and they destroyed some of the deities. Of course, they destroyed the temples and in some cases they destroyed the deities. So what happens in such cases? Is it that the invaders are able to destroy the spiritual form? No. No materialistic person can even see, what to speak of touching or destroying the spiritual form. Just like Ravana, he could not even see the form of Sita. Similarly, the Muslim invaders who came to destroy the temples, they could not even see the form of the deity of the Supreme Lord Krishna or Rama. So then what did they destroy? They destroyed some stone statue. That's all. Just like anybody can go and break some stone or attempt to break some stone. Like that, they merely broke some stone statue. That's all. They cannot even see the form, the spiritual form, the transcendental form of the deity. They can't touch. They cannot do anything. So as far as the devotees are concerned, the spiritual form, the transcendental form, the transcendental body of the Supreme Lord is untouched, unseen, is eternally present, untouched and unseen by the non-devotees. But still, as their service to the deities, the devotees render all kinds of service to the deities. They bathe the deities, they perform abhisheka, they dress the deities. When a devotee is offering such seva to the deities, that deity accepting the service is not a metal or a stone statue, but actually Krishna is accepting the service or seva of his devotees. So this is very difficult to understand for the non-devotees, can only be understood by the devotees. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. If you want to know Krishna in truth, what is his form, what is his nature, how does he appear, how does he accept service through the deity, then you can understand all this only by bhakti. So you have to develop your dormant devotion, and then you can actually see, you can understand, you can actually do proper service to the Supreme Lord even in His eighth form. So let's stop here. Now.